Hi and welcome back to my occasional videos for Clay English on topics other than new concept English, and today I thought I would update you on how you get to Laos, because we decided to take the train to come down here to celebrate Adam's second birthday, which is today. And we've come down to Luang Prabang, which is the major tourist area within Laos, and we came down on the train from Kunming. So I just want to run through the difficulties and problems that we have had, because before coming to Laos I had to search around online to see if I could prepare for the trip, and there isn't a lot of information on there which was able to prepare us, so we've had to work it out ourselves. And so this is our travelogue of how to get here and hopefully to get back again in a couple of days' time. So in order to come on the train from Kunming to Laos, you need to buy a train ticket. And before you can buy a train ticket, you need to get a visa. Now the Laos website, e-visa, is possible, and it's not too difficult to fill out the form. You need to have details of where you're going to stay in Laos, and as well as your potential trip dates. But these are not crucial pieces of information. They're just to give you a start, because we put down one particular hotel, and then after the visa came through, that hotel was full and we had to change hotels, and that doesn't seem to have caused a problem. The other thing is that the visa can take 3 days to come through, although ours took 2 days, which is not too bad. And once it comes through, it's valid for up to 60 days. That means you have to enter Laos within 60 days, and you're allowed to stay for 30 days after that date, after date of entry. But to do that, this may be uncertain and may change your plans. So we put a date in which was about a week ahead, and that went through okay. And we did actually leave on the day that we specified in our visa application, but I gather that isn't essential. So first thing is e-visa. And then when you've got the visa, then you can book the train ticket. And that is very easy to book in the same way as you book any other high-speed train ticket within China. So you use the same apps. Excuse me. You use the same apps, but you can only book a single. You can only book from Kunming to Laos. You can't book the return ticket. So I checked around online, and nobody seemed to give any clear indication as to any other way. There seemed to be a way of booking through a Laos app, but that required a Laos telephone number, and we now know that, having tried that, that's not true. That only applies if you want to buy tickets within Laos. It doesn't allow you to buy international tickets. The other thing we were told was that you could buy it through the railway station when you get to Laos. Well, that is true, but the railway station only takes cash, Laos cash, nothing else. And so there at the railway station in Luang Prabang, and indeed at the border stations, there is nothing, no services at all. You can't change money at the railway station. You can, either railway station at Moreton or Morehan or Boton, which are the border stations on both sides of the border, and you can't change money at Luang Prabang either. So you have to go into the town of Luang Prabang to get money, unless you take enough with. Now we tried to change money in Kunming, and the bank wouldn't give us any Laos money. They said it's an uncirculated, non-transferable currency. It's not an easy sale. So the banks didn't have it. We had to use the Bureau de Change, the standard exchange services, and they charge a very bad rate. The rate we were given at the exchange was 2,400 Lao kip to the RMB. Now the midpoint rate advertised online is about 2,900, so there's a massive penalty. So we just bought, and I recommend that you do the same, you just buy about 200 RMBs worth of kip. That will give you about 500,000 kip. And the reason is that when you get to the railway station in Luang Prabang, you need to pay a taxi to take you. It's 12 kilometers from the railway station into the center. And the standard agreed price for a taxi of 4 people, up to 4 people, is 250,000 kip. which works out about 80 RMB, 80 or 90 RMB. So you need to have that much with you just in case, and a bit in hand just in case you have to negotiate. If you share with other people, you may get a reduced price, but it's not easy. There's only one international train each way a day, and they both arrive at Luang Prabang at more or less the same time. So you get to Luang Prabang. Well, you go through the border control. Let's talk about that. So on the train from Kunming to the border, you need to fill out your arrivals form for Luang Prabang. You'll need the details of where you're staying. This is a box filling exercise, so don't worry too much. And then when you get to the border station on the Chinese side, everyone has to get off the train, and you have to go through security. Now there's two queues as always, as within China. So you have one for your Chinese ID card queue and the other for foreigners who are using or traveling on their passports. So that was straightforward, and then you get back on the same train in the same seat. You then travel through a tunnel for about 10 or 15 minutes to the Laos side of the border, and then you get out and you take all your luggage again, and you go through X-ray twice to get back on the train. But you have to then go through Laos customs. There's one queue for group and one queue for individual travellers, and the individual queue is very, very slow. But once the group people had cleared the passport checks, then they opened up more windows for the rest of us, and then the queue moved very quickly. But in any case, the train stops for an hour at the border station, and that should be enough. They're not doing visa on arrival anymore. You have to get e-visa before you travel. That's another piece of incorrect information online. They were not issuing visas at the border. Okay, so you've got to have e-visa before you travel. Okay, so you get back on the train, you then travel for another couple of hours down to Luang Prabang. You get off Luang Prabang, you then have loads of people approaching you. Just to remind you, Laos is chaos. Laos is badly organized, it's a mess. It's very dirty, and there are no obvious fixed prices for anything. Everything's negotiable, price is negotiable. Okay, there's no organization behind the taxes, it's just a scrum. Okay, so people will approach you offering to take you into town, negotiate your price. It should be fixed price 250,000 for 4 people for a single taxi, and it may be more or less, but and maybe you have to share, and in which case you might get a better price, but you'll need to find other people who want to go more or less to the same place. So we got the taxi to the hotel, and again I was worried the hotel booking may not be valid, but that was okay. We're staying in a little, very small rooms. There's no kettle in the room, which is the only major difference from normal hotels. Otherwise, they processed our credit card without any problems, and although they seemed unfamiliar with the credit card machine, but anyway, otherwise you may have to pay cash. Nobody takes WeChat, almost nobody takes WeChat. Okay, so we arrived in Luang Prabang, and the train arrives here about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so 4 o'clock by the time you get to your hotel, maybe. And then what do you do? Well, if you want to get the tickets back to Kunming, there's only one place in the city of Luang Prabang that will do that. They have a special train office. Now, we were told, as I said, that there were other ways of buying tickets. We've learned that's not the case. The train office is in the centre of Luang Prabang. It's not too far from the night market, on the same street as the night market, but the other way, going the other way. And that office is closed between 12 and 12:30 for lunch, but it's open a couple of hours in the morning and I think till 3:30 in the afternoon. So be aware of the opening hours, but you need to pay cash. The single ticket second class from Luang Prabang back to Kunming is 1.2 million kip, roughly. So that's about 400 RMB. Okay, first class is about 1.9 million kip. So when we went to buy our ticket back, we were told that our second class tickets were, actually no, that's right, we went to the train office to buy the return ticket, and they wouldn't sell it to us at the train office. They then told us that this train office was only for Laos tickets within Laos. So after all of that and getting all this money together, it was a waste of time. By now we'd made friends with the taxi driver, and so we asked him to take us back to the Luang Prabang railway station, wait for us while we queued, and then take us back into Luang Prabang. Now it's 250,000 return, but because he had to wait, it was another 50. So that's 300,000 kip for the trip to the railway station and back. 300,000 is about 100 RMB. So we arranged with him to do that. So we went back to the railway station and joined the queue. There was a long queue, and of course just as we got to the front, they opened another window, as they did. But the woman who was opening this never had done this job before. She seemed complete novice. We were her first people that she was selling tickets to, and so it took an absolute age. And I say that's when we discovered that the tickets were sold out for our preferred day, so we had to leave, buy tickets a day early. We could have got first class, but we didn't have enough money for the first class ticket, because having found everything is in cash, you have to have the right amount. And of course the cash is useless in China, and so we don't want to have too much in Laos money, otherwise we'd be left holding it or change it back when we get back to China at a rubbish rate. Anyway, so we had enough to buy 3 second-class tickets for our family at 1.2 million kip each, 400 RMB, and we so we counted out the cash for her for the day before we intended to travel, and eventually she just seemed to book the ticket, cancel it, book it, cancel it, check it, cancel it. And it's like, she's never done this before. She was being supervised. But anyway, eventually we got the 3 tickets, and the one good thing was that we were told we would have to pay 15,000 kip. It's only about 5 RMB for the car park at the station if we stayed more than a few minutes, but there was no one at the barrier to collect the money, and so we were able to drive straight out. So we then asked the taxi driver if he could arrange tickets for the evening cruise on the river, 2-hour evening cruise, and he said it would probably be about 50,000 kip, which is maybe about 15-20 RMB per person, which sounded quite reasonable for a 2-hour cruise on the river. When he booked it, he said it was $20 per person, which I had no idea how much that was. So we said, yeah, whatever. But it now turns out 500,000 kip. That's 10 times the price that he quoted us. So we'll have to tell him we're not going to do that when we see him later. The other problem we're on the wrong side of the river. There's a little side river which flows into the Mekong, and there used to be a bamboo bridge across this little bit of river which is now closed, and so the only way across is on a little boat, 10,000 kip per person, so it's only about 3 RMB, but the alternative is you pay a taxi driver 100,000 kip each way to take you to and from the hotel we are. So if you're going to get a hotel, get it on the right side of the river, get it on the town side of the river. That's where most of the hotels are located anyway. I wonder why this one was particularly cheap. It's a very nice hotel, and on TripAdvisor it was actually #1 out of 65 small hotels based on reviews, but they say the bridge is closed, and so it's not easy to get into town. We can walk it. It takes, half an hour, 45 minutes to walk round via the old bridge, but the old bridge is only for motorbikes, not for tuk-tuk or cars, and so you can't get a taxi over it. The taxis have to go a long way around the city to the other bridge, and that's why they charge so much. So the advice is get a hotel in the centre, not out where we are on the wrong side of the river. So in summary, the sequence is quite clear. So #1, in Kunming, get about 200 RMB, 500,000 kip. Okay, that's all you need because the rate is rubbish. And then number 2, obviously get the e-visa, then buy your train ticket, number 3. Number 4 is then book your hotel, and then on the day, say you don't need, we were told you have to get to the railway station. The train leaves Kunming 8:08 in the morning, and we were told you have to be there an hour before. And with the metro is not early enough, and so you have to pay for a taxi. You don't. There's nothing special at all about the process of checking in at Kunming. Just get the metro. You can turn up half an hour before, just like ordinary high-speed trains in China. So just get the ordinary metro down to Kunming. The journey is quite ordinary. It's not as fast as usual because the train's got a top speed of 160 kph, which is fast in Laos, but is slow in China. And make sure you have all the paperwork handy, the e-visa printed, and so on. You'll need that at the border. And then when you get to Luang Prabang, remember you are going to have to go into town. That's 250,000 kip. Then you're going to have to change some money. Now, the advice on changing money, we found 2 ways. So the bank will give you a reasonable rate. We got 29.50 approximately as our midpoint rate. But there was a clothes shop just a few meters, well, maybe 100 meters from the bank, and he was willing to take WeChat, and he gave us a rate of 300 or 3,000 to the RMB, while the midpoint rate in the bank was 29.50. Now, we don't know what charge WeChat will put on for the international exchange, but at least we didn't have to have the cash. Because otherwise you need RMB in cash. There's no access to your bank here. You can't do it. The other piece of advice when you get to Luang Prabang railway station was buy a SIM, a local SIM card. It cost us 50 RMB in RMB cash, and that will give you, I think it's 10 days usage while you're here, and that's really useful to have a local SIM, so you can call people locally and arrange taxis and check things. So that's really useful advice. So I say so when you get to Luang Prabang Centre, you need to go and get 1.2 million approximately in kip, around 400 RMB changed. Either you need the cash in RMB or you need the WeChat if you can find this clothes shop. And then when you've got that, you then need to pay a taxi, 250,000 to go back to the railway station, wait for you and come back so that you can buy the tickets for the return trip. It's the only way you can get tickets back to China is going back to Luang Prabang railway station, paying cash for them, Laos cash. Okay, and now we have the problem of hoping that the taxi driver will turn up in the morning, because the train back to Kunming leaves 9:47, and so we need to leave our hotel probably about 8 to give us maximum time. And I'm not sure I trust any of the taxi drivers here to actually do that. That's the only problem. But we hopefully will be back in Kunming very soon. There you go, that's my summary of the trip.